Today we're going to be talking about the new Leica M11-P Safari, which is my new Leica M camera. I am a sucker for green things. I have a green hat right now, a green jacket, I've got a green knife, green notebooks. I just happen to love the color green, and I've always thought to myself, if a green Leica were to come out, and of course they've had Safaris before, they've had reporters before, but if a green Leica came out that fit my workflow, that would be like in the wheelhouse in which I use cameras, I would hook it up. The Leica M11 is my camera. I think it's the best Leica they've ever made, especially for professionals. And now that they've released a green one, I just gave in and had to do it. It's also a brass camera, which means that over time, this camera is going to age in a way that reflects how I use it. I'm a sucker for that stuff. I've never had a brass Leica before, so I'm super pumped to have a brass Leica and have it be green. I have sold my M11. It is actually shipping out to its new owner today. I'm actually throwing in a few things for my friend who bought this camera. I'm pretty stoked for it. So this is going out today. I sold it for essentially 2/3 of this new camera here. And that final 1/3 has come from the sale of some other gear that I'm not using. And what I want to do now is really just show you guys some of the things that I couldn't find as I was considering this camera, because there's a couple of things about this that I was a little unsure about. Because while it is my favorite color green, I wasn't completely sold on the silver and black accents being on the camera. So let's real quick talk about the type of green this camera is. I'm gonna put the M11 Safari here. I'm gonna bring in a color card so you can get an idea of the type of green this camera is against this color card here. If I was describing this green, it's not quite like military green. It's a little more vibrant than that. My knife here is a very military green, and you can see it's kind of desaturated, whereas this is a little more vibrant. I mean, we're talking about pretty small. I'm wearing a CPO jacket, which is, again, like my favorite shade of green. And if I put my sleeve in here, you can definitely see now that this green is much more gray and desaturated than the green that is on the Safari camera. But I mean, it's absolutely beautiful in person. And obviously it's beautiful in the photos too, because the photos compelled me to buy it. So here we are. But if you're curious as to what kind of green it is out of a studio setting or not under perfect lighting, well, this is it. Here's how the camera looks under direct sunlight, because it's a beautiful sunny day here in California. And if I go into the shade, it's going to look like this. So the M10 Reporter that came out several years ago, they only made 450 of them, so it's a pretty rare camera. It had black dials and hardware on the top instead of silver dials like the Safari has. So everything that is silver on this camera was black on the M10 Reporter. And I kind of thought to myself, if they do an M11 Reporter, would I want a camera like that? Because I do prefer black over silver. My lenses are mostly all black, and they have black buttons, obviously the black screen when it's off, the black things on the back. So it's kind of a mixed color camera. It's green, it's silver, and it's black. And my thinking was like, is that gonna bother me? Because I've even talked about photography being best when it's like 2 or 3 colors max. And this is like, 3 right off the bat. And then, if you take something like a tan camera strap, which has been in a lot of the promos for this camera, not this one, this is the one that I've used on my M11 for many years, and you combine this color with the silver, black, and green, well, now you have 4 colors represented in your camera carrier, which is a big difference from something like this, which is just a blacked out M11 that had a tan strap on it. And I think in many ways, I was a little unsure as to how this was going to look. And I'm still not really certain if this strap is gonna end up on this camera or if I'm gonna end up putting my black strap, which is typically on my M6, if this strap is gonna end up on this camera. I'm actually leaning towards the black and then moving my tan strap over to my Leica M6, which is also blacked out like the M11 was. So, this is all kind of like TBD, but I was curious about this myself, like how will this go with my current setup? This is a Leica Summitar. I used it in that little intro clip that I did because it is a Leica lens and it's vintage, very old lens here, but let's just take a quick look at how the Summitar looks on this camera. And honestly, it looks really, really beautiful. It's fantastic. I just absolutely love it. Let's evaluate the black lens on this camera, because if you see me out shooting with it and in my videos in the future, I'm going to have a black lens on this camera. I don't really have any like reason to make that change right now to silver, and I don't know if I really mind the black lens now that I'm seeing it on there. My biggest concern was like, is this gonna be a really weird look? I don't think it is. I actually think it looks really nice. Now, this video is not scripted. I'm not using a teleprompter today. I'm just sitting here chatting you up about this new camera, and I had every intent during this video to set it up. I mean, I haven't even gotten the menu set up. I should probably do that first. So turning the camera on, I'm gonna go ahead and connect it to the app. I use iOS. I don't have a cable. Okay, let's just hit the plus button here. This is a Leica M series camera. It's the M11-P. Connect that camera that it found, pair it over, discovering, setup, continue an app. All right, man, that is so easy. Turn on that geotagging. All right, your camera has been set up automatically. Done. I'll have some things I need to do to set up the camera for how I use it, but at least that part of it is now done. I plan to make a video on this topic, but I think the M11 is a very future-proof camera. And this is true of any of the M11 cameras, not just the P, but even the original. Like, I think it's a very future-proof camera. I think the biggest thing really just comes down to this USB-C connection. To me, this is what makes a camera future-proof. Ever since switching to the M11 a few years ago from the M10R and the M10 prior to that, having USB-C has made my life significantly easier. And at first, I wasn't loving losing the bottom plate like classic Leica heritage. Being able to charge all of your cameras, I mean, for me, I shoot Sony for video, I shoot Leica for photography, I've got the Pocket 3 by DJI for like, on-the-go clips. I've got my phone and my iPad, and now when I travel, I just take one block that has multiple USB-C outputs and I can charge all of my gear on it. And honestly, that is what makes this camera to me future-proof, because USB-C is not going anywhere for a very long time. I think future cameras may have wireless charging, but this right here is gonna work in my workflow for a very long time. I don't care about other features that might come down the line. I get a lot of comments from people saying, well, these cameras need IBIS, they need weather sealing, they need all X, Y, and Z. And honestly, like, those things don't matter to me. They really just don't matter. You'll never see me drop one camera for another because of features like that. So having an aesthetically pleasing camera that just goes along with like who I am and the color scheme that I like, having the M11's already fantastic features. For me, it makes brassing a camera like this over a decade or longer really exciting. So I'm really pumped about the M11-P Safari. Are you planning to get an M11-P Safari, or would it be your dream camera? It's definitely been my dream camera. I recognize how lucky I am to have it. Drop a comment below and just let me know your thoughts. Hit me up with your questions, shoot me a DM, whatever it is. All the links are below. And if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.